Look at your hands right now. Those hands, look at them. They held a phone for 6 hours yesterday. They scrolled, they swiped, they tapped 1,000 things that meant absolutely nothing. And tonight, those same hands are going to lay next to you in bed while you stare at the ceiling, wondering why your life hasn't changed. You're going to fail in 2026. Not because the world is against you, not because you didn't have enough time, not because life was unfair. You're going to fail because you already know exactly what you need to do, and you're still not doing it. The most dangerous lie you tell yourself isn't, I can't. It's, I'll start tomorrow. Stay with me, because what I'm about to say in the next 30 minutes will either break you open or break you down. And either way, you needed this. 2025 is almost behind you. And if you're being honest, brutally, uncomfortably honest, it looked a lot like 2024, which looked a lot like 2023. Different dates on the calendar, same you, same excuses, same distance between who you are and who you swore you were going to become. I'm not here to motivate you. Motivation is a candle. The second the wind changes, it's gone. What I'm here to do is hand you a mirror and hold it steady until you can't look away. Because here's the truth that no one in your life has the guts to say to you. You are not behind because of bad luck. You are behind because of bad habits and a broken relationship with discomfort. Most people enter a new year the same way they enter a new diet, with energy, with vision boards, with a new playlist, with new gym shoes. And by February, those shoes are still clean. The playlist is still playing, but nothing has changed because the enemy was never outside. The enemy was in that skull of yours, that voice, that whisper, the one that says not yet, and you deserve a rest, and one more day won't hurt. That voice has been running your life. And in 2026, if you let it keep running, you will fail. Not gradually, not quietly. You will fail with full awareness. You will watch yourself fail in real time, knowing you could have stopped it. And that awareness will be the cruelest part. So let's talk about why. Let's go section by section into the exact psychology, the exact behavior patterns, the exact moments where people like you, intelligent, capable, burning with potential, collapse under the weight of their own comfort. Are you ready? Or are you going to hit pause and come back later? That hesitation right there. That's exactly what we're here to fix. Here's the first reason you will fail in 2026, and it's the one nobody wants to hear. You already decided who you are, and it's not who you need to be. Let me paint you a picture. It's 6:47 in the morning. The alarm went off at 6:00. You told yourself last night when you were full of conviction, when you had that fire in your chest, you told yourself you were getting up at 6:00. That was the deal. That was the commitment. But at 6:01, the negotiation started. It's cold. I worked hard yesterday. One day won't make a difference. I'll go twice tomorrow. And here's what's insane about that moment. You weren't lazy. You were loyal. Loyal to an identity you built so slowly, so quietly over so many years of small surrenders that you didn't even notice it happening. You built an identity as someone who tries but doesn't finish, someone who wants but doesn't pursue, someone who has potential but doesn't perform. And every morning you choose to snooze, you're not just losing 45 minutes of sleep. You are reinforcing who you have decided you are. Psychologists call this identity foreclosure, when a person locks themselves into a self-concept so rigid that growth feels like betrayal. But in the street, in the real world, in the arena of your actual life, we call it something simpler. You chose comfort over character. Every single day, let me give you a scenario, and I want you to feel this one. It's a Tuesday night, October 2025, 11:14 p.m. You're sitting in your apartment, laptop open, course half finished, business idea half launched, chapter 2 of a book you've been writing for 3 years, half written. Your phone buzzes. A friend just posted his new product launch. It's selling, real money, real traction. And something tightens in your chest. Is it jealousy? Maybe, but dig deeper. Beneath that jealousy is recognition, because that friend wasn't smarter than you. You know that. He wasn't more talented. What he was more committed to finishing the thing than protecting his ego from the possibility of failure. The gap between you and the person you envy isn't talent. It's tolerance for discomfort. You want to know why you will fail in 2026 if nothing changes? Because you have built your entire self-concept around a version of yourself that is comfortable, careful, and protected from rejection. That version of you will never build anything that matters. That version of you will watch 2026 happen to them instead of happening to 2026. Who did you decide you were? And when did you make that decision? And more importantly, who made it for you? Because most of the identity you're protecting wasn't even built by you. It was built by the fear of what other people would think if you tried and failed. By a teacher who said you weren't academic enough. By a parent who said, don't get too big for your boots. By a friend who laughed when you shared your dream once and you never shared it again. You are living inside a prison cell built by other people's opinions, and you decorated it so nicely that you forgot it was a cage. Your identity is not your destiny, but right now it is your chains. The first step out is not a new routine. It's not a new app. It's not a new journal. The first step out is a declaration war on the self-concept that has been running your life on autopilot. In 2026, you need to stop being loyal to who you were and start being ruthlessly devoted to who you are capable of becoming. Those two things cannot coexist. You must choose. The second reason you will fail in 2026 is more dangerous because it feels good. You are addicted to comfort. And I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean it clinically. I mean, your nervous system has been conditioned through thousands of small choices to treat the absence of discomfort as the definition of a good day. Think about it. What does a good day look like to you right now? If you're honest, if you strip away what you think you're supposed to say, what does your body, your behavior, your actual daily choices say a good day looks like? Probably something like this. You wake up when you feel like it. You have your coffee. You scroll for a while. You do the work tasks that are easy first. You avoid the hard calls. You skip the workout because it's been a long week. You reward yourself for getting through the day with Netflix, with food, with content, with anything that numbs the low-grade anxiety of knowing you're not doing what you know you should be doing. And then you feel empty, not dramatically, not in a way that forces a crisis, just a dull, persistent emptiness, like a faint alarm going off in a building you've learned to ignore. That emptiness is your potential, suffocating inside a comfortable life. Here's the neuroscience, and pay attention because this is where it gets dangerous. Every time you choose comfort over the hard thing, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, relief, safety, the threat is gone, and your brain logs that choice as survival behavior. Over time, your brain begins to treat avoidance, the avoidance of challenge, of vulnerability, of effort, as the correct strategy for life. And then doing the hard thing doesn't just feel difficult, it feels threatening. It feels wrong. Your own biology becomes your saboteur. You trained your brain to be afraid of the very things that would save you. Let me give you a second scenario because I want this to land in your body, not just your head. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, March 2025. You're at your desk. You've been working for 4 hours, but honestly, you've done maybe 45 minutes of real focused hard work. The rest has been email, tabs, YouTube, a 20-minute rabbit hole about something completely unrelated to your goal. There is one task on your list. One, the task that would actually move the needle, the task that you've been circling for 3 days, the email you need to send, the call you need to make, the piece of content you need to record, the decision you need to make. And you know you need to do it, but instead you get up. You make another coffee. You check your phone. You reorganize your desktop. You do 3 smaller tasks that feel like productivity, but are actually sophisticated procrastination. Why? Not because you're lazy, because that task carries risk. It carries the possibility of rejection, of judgment, of failure, of having to face the gap between your vision and your current capability. And your comfort-addicted brain, in its desperate attempt to protect you from that emotional pain, blocks you, shuts you down, moves you toward the safe, the familiar, the comfortable. Comfort is not rest. Comfort is slow motion surrender. And in 2026, if you don't break this addiction deliberately, ruthlessly, daily, it will break you. Because here's what nobody tells you about the comfort trap. It has a ceiling. You can only numb yourself so far. There comes a moment, and it always comes, where the life you built around comfort becomes a source of the most profound discomfort you've ever felt. That moment when you realize you played it safe your entire life, and the safe path led to a life you don't recognize and can't stand, that moment is coming. The only question is whether it comes as a wake-up call or as a funeral. David Goggins didn't become who he is because he had good conditions. He had horrific conditions: abuse, obesity, poverty, learning disabilities. He became who he is because he made a decision, a real uncompromising decision, that discomfort was going to be his training ground, not his enemy. He called it callousing the mind. Every hard thing you do, every cold shower you take when your body screams for warm water, every mile you run when your legs want to stop, every hard conversation you have when silence is easier, is another layer of callus on your mind, making it tougher, making it more capable, making it unbreakable. Most people are trying to build a great life with a soft mind. It doesn't work. You have to make a choice in 2026, not a vision board choice, not a new year, new me Instagram caption choice, a real bone deep, no going back choice that discomfort is no longer your enemy. That hard is no longer a warning signal. That struggle is not something happening to you. It is something you are choosing to walk into, eyes open, chest forward, because you know that on the other side of it is the version of yourself that you keep dreaming about. Make that choice, or stay comfortable. But know this: soft decisions make hard lives. Hard decisions make free ones. Stop. Right here. If you've made it this far in this video, you're not like most people. Most people clicked off. Most people got uncomfortable and ran. But you're still here, and that tells me something. So I'm going to challenge you right now, not ask you, challenge you. Drop in the comments the one thing you have been avoiding for more than 30 days. The real thing, the scary thing, the thing you know you need to do and haven't done. Put it in writing. Make it real. Because the moment you name the thing, it loses half its power over you. Do it now. Then come back. Because what's coming in the next half of this video is where it gets real. All right, you know why you're going to fail. Now, let's talk about what the uncommon person, the one who doesn't fail, actually does differently. Not theory, not philosophy, rules, commands, actions. Rule 1, the brutal inventory. Name the lie you've been living. Command: every Sunday night, you will sit in silence for 15 minutes and answer 3 questions out loud. Not in your head, out loud. What did I avoid this week that I know I needed to face? What lie did I tell myself to justify it? What will it cost me if I keep doing this? Reality check. You cannot fix a problem you refuse to name. The reason most people never change is not lack of resources, it's lack of radical honesty. They give themselves soft language. I've been busy. I wasn't feeling it. The timing wasn't right. That soft language is a fog machine. It keeps the real problem invisible and comfortable. The brutal inventory strips the fog. When you sit in that silence on Sunday night, and I mean real silence, phone face down, no music, no ambient noise, and you ask yourself what you avoided, the honest answer will surface. It always does. Because somewhere underneath all the noise and the numbing and the justifications, you already know the truth. You've always known. You just haven't had the courage to say it out loud. Immediate action tonight, not Sunday, tonight. Pick one thing you avoided this week. Say it out loud, alone, to yourself. Say the lie you told yourself about it. Then write down what it will cost you in 5 years if that avoidance becomes your permanent pattern. That is not a journaling exercise. That is a reckoning. Rule 2, the 40 IOU rule. Your limit is not your limit. Your mind says stop. Keep going for 20 more minutes. Every time. No exceptions. Goggins talks about this. When your mind tells you it's done, your body is only at 40% of its actual capacity. The first wave of I can't is a suggestion, not a verdict. Your brain is trying to conserve energy, keep you safe, pull you back to the comfortable. It is not telling you the truth about your limits. Reality check. You have never actually found your limit, not once. Every time you stopped before you got there. Every quit was premature. Every I can't was a negotiation, not a physical fact. You built your entire ceiling based on a number your brain made up when it got scared. The 40 IOU rule isn't about running farther or lifting heavier, though it applies there too. It applies to the business pitch you gave up on after 2 rejections. It applies to the relationship conversation you avoided because it got uncomfortable. It applies to the creative project you shelved because the first version wasn't good enough. You stopped at 40%. What would have happened if you'd kept going? Immediate action: identify one area of your life where you have been operating at 40% effort while telling yourself it's 100. Be precise. Be honest. And tomorrow, just tomorrow, give that area everything you have left after you think you have nothing. See what you find on the other side of your made-up limit. Rule 3, the hard thing first. Non-negotiable. Command every single morning: the first productive thing you do must be the hardest thing on your list. No exceptions, no warm-up tasks, no emails first. This is not a productivity hack. This is a declaration of identity. Reality check: the order in which you do things in the morning is a direct message from you to your brain about who is in charge. When you start with the easy stuff, the email, the scroll, the gentle tasks, you are telling your brain that comfort leads, that avoidance comes first, that you need to warm up to hard things slowly, like there's something to be feared and prepared for. But when you attack the hardest thing first, the phone call that scares you, the deliverable that requires everything you have, the workout, the chapter, the decision, you tell your brain something completely different. You tell it that hard is the default, that you are not afraid, that difficulty is where you live. And over time, that message rewires the brain, not metaphorically, literally. The neural pathways associated with avoidance become weaker from disuse. The pathways associated with decisive, courageous action become stronger, faster, more automatic, immediate action. Look at tomorrow's schedule right now. Find the hardest thing. Move it to 8 a.m. Block it. Protect it. And when 8 a.m. comes and your brain gives you every reason to delay it, notice the negotiation starting, name it, and do the thing anyway. The hard thing done early is the day won. The hard thing delayed is the day lost. Let's talk about the conversation nobody wants to have: your environment, your circle, the people who are closest to you right now. Because here's the third and perhaps most devastating reason you will fail in 2026. You are surrounded by people who are comfortable with average, and their comfort is contagious. I want to be careful here, because this isn't about hating people or cutting off everyone you love. This is about something much more subtle and much more dangerous. It's about the invisible standards of the people around you. Think about your closest 5 people right now, the ones you spend the most time with, the ones whose opinions matter to you, the ones whose approval you still carry somewhere in your chest, even if you never admit it. Now ask yourself, what is their relationship with ambition? What is their relationship with discipline? What do they say, out loud or in implication, about people who work obsessively toward goals, about people who wake up early and train hard and build businesses and take big risks? In a lot of circles, ambition is treated as arrogance. Discipline is treated as intensity. Big goals are treated as delusion. And the person in the group who starts showing up differently, who starts training, who starts building, who starts saying no to things they used to say yes to, that person gets a particular kind of pressure. It's not always overt. Sometimes it's a raised eyebrow. Sometimes it's, "Oh, so you're too good for us now?" Sometimes it's the slight mocking of your new habits. Sometimes it's the friend who only seems to call you when they want to go out and mysteriously disappears when you share a win. And the cruel truth is, that pressure, subtle, social, invisible, is more powerful than almost any external obstacle you will face, because you can fight an enemy you can see. But an enemy that wears the face of someone you love is almost impossible to fight. Misery doesn't just love company, it recruits it. Let me give you a third scenario. This one is about a man I'll call Marcus. 28 years old, bright, capable, had a business idea he'd been developing for 2 years. Part-time, early mornings, late nights. He'd built something with real traction, real customers, real revenue starting to come in. And then he made the mistake of sharing it too early with his oldest friend, someone he'd known since he was 12, someone who, without meaning to cause harm, was deeply threatened by Marcus's growth because it reflected everything his old friend hadn't done with his own potential. The friend didn't say quit. He didn't say you'll fail. He just said subtly, consistently over months of conversations, don't forget where you came from. You're changing, man. I just don't want to see you get hurt. Is all this hustle really worth it? Like, at what cost? And Marcus, who loved his friend, who didn't want to lose the relationship, who had a deep loyalty to his origin, slowed down. Not dramatically, gradually. He started sleeping in a little more, going out a little more, working on the business a little less. And 2 years later, the business was dead. Not because of the market, not because of competition, because the people around him were more comfortable with his failure than with his success. Do you have a Marcus in your life? Or are you Marcus? Because here's the hard truth. You cannot fly with people who are trying to pull you back to the ground. This doesn't mean you have to be ruthless. It doesn't mean you have to announce that you're leaving people behind, but it means you must be intentional, ferociously intentional about who gets access to your dreams, your doubts, your setbacks, your momentum. Not everyone deserves to sit ringside at the fight of your life. Some people in your circle love you. They genuinely love you, and they are still the wrong people to be your primary influence in 2026 because they love the version of you that stays familiar. They love the version of you that doesn't threaten the status quo of the group. And if you are serious about change, real, permanent, structural change, you will at some point have to disappoint those people. You will have to say no to the nights out. You will have to miss the hangouts. You will have to stop explaining your goals to people who don't have the capacity to understand them. Guard your vision like it's your last source of oxygen, because in many ways it is. And here's the flip side, because this is important. You need to find, actively seek, deliberately pursue people who are where you want to be, not people who talk about being there, people who are there, people who wake up early without being told, people who are building things while others are watching things, people who talk about ideas and systems and growth instead of gossip and grievances. If you cannot find those people in your physical life right now, find them in their books, in their podcasts, in their documentaries. Feed your mind every single day with evidence that what you want is possible. Because the mind does not easily believe what it never sees modeled, you will become the average of your inputs. Choose them like your future depends on it. Because it does. We've been building to this. Everything before this moment has been diagnosis. Now we're at the operating table, because here's the final and most important thing I need you to understand about why people fail in 2026 and in every year before it. The failure doesn't happen in January. It happens tonight. It happens the moment you finish this video and go back to normal. That's the moment. The hinge point, the fulcrum on which your entire year balances. Every person who has ever started a new year on fire and crashed by March made the same mistake. They treated the inspiration like the action. They felt the fire and confused the feeling with the transformation. They went to bed with the feeling of someone who was going to change and woke up as the same person who never did. Feeling motivated is not the same as being disciplined. Wanting to change is not the same as changing. Writing the goal is not the same as doing the work. And the gap between those two things, between feeling and doing, between wanting and having, is where most human potential dies. Quietly, without fanfare, without a dramatic failure you can point to and say, that's where it went wrong. It went wrong in the small moments, the ordinary, unremarkable small moments, the 1 a.m. negotiation with the alarm, the Tuesday afternoon when you chose the easy task, the Sunday when you told yourself you'd start Monday, the Friday when you said you deserved the weekend off, the moment after watching a video like this one when you felt inspired, said that was good, and then did absolutely nothing differently. Inspiration without action is just emotional entertainment. I want you to imagine something, and I want you to sit in this image uncomfortably until it means something to you. Imagine it's December 31st, 2026. You're wherever you are. It's late, and you are doing what you do every New Year's Eve, reviewing the year. Not the highlight reel you'll post online, the real review, the one that happens in the quiet moments before you sleep. And you have to answer 2 questions, honestly, without the comfortable lie. First question, did I do everything I was capable of doing this year? Second question, if I could replay 2026, would I? Right now, if you're honest, the answer to both of those questions for 2025 is painful. And that pain is information. That pain is data. That pain is your gut, your body, your deepest intelligence telling you you have more in you that you're not using. The question is what you do with that pain. Most people take that pain and they numb it. They bury it. They distract from it. They open the phone, the fridge, the streaming service, the social media feed, anything to not have to sit in the full weight of knowing they underperform their potential. But a small number of people, a very small number, take that pain and they do something dangerous with it. They use it. They use it as fuel, as evidence, as a sworn testimony against their old self. They look at that pain and they say, never again, I will never sit in this feeling one more year in a row and not do something about it. That decision, that moment of choosing to weaponize your disappointment rather than bury it, is the beginning of the uncommon life. Goggins calls it the cookie jar, the collection of every hard thing you've survived, every obstacle you've overcome, every time you thought you were finished but kept going. You reach into that jar when everything in you wants to quit. You pull out the evidence that you are harder than you think. But to build that jar, you have to do hard things first. You have to start accumulating evidence. Every morning you get up before you want to, that goes in the jar. Every hard conversation you have when silence was easier, that goes in the jar. Every workout you finish when your body begged you to stop, that goes in the jar. Every time you chose the dream over the distraction, that goes in the jar. And slowly, that jar fills up. And when 2026 tries to break you, and it will try, you reach into that jar and you remember who you are. You remember what you've built. You remember that you have been here before, in the dark, in the hard, in the uncertain, and you kept going. That is not motivation. That is character. And character is built one hard decision at a time. Let me tell you what the uncommon person does differently in 2026. They don't wait for the perfect conditions. They don't wait until they feel ready. They don't wait for the fear to go away, because the fear never goes away. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that something else is more important than the fear. They don't wait for motivation. They create momentum. They do the thing even when the feeling isn't there, especially when the feeling isn't there, because they understand that action creates feeling, not the other way around. They don't try to change everything at once. They pick the one thing, the one non-negotiable, the one keystone habit, the one daily discipline, and they protect it with everything they have, because they know that one strong anchor holds the whole ship. They don't explain themselves to people who haven't earned the right to understand. They build in silence. They let the results speak. They are not interested in being understood by everyone. They are interested in becoming undeniable. Stop seeking permission. Start seeking progress. And they rest properly, strategically, without using rest as a cover for retreat. There is a difference between the recovery of a warrior and the avoidance of a coward. The warrior rests with the knowledge that tomorrow they go back to battle. The coward rests with the hope that maybe tomorrow the battle will have gone away. The battle never goes away. In 2026, the market will still be competitive. The algorithm will still be brutal. The relationships will still require work. The body will still require discipline. The mind will still require training. None of it gets easier. None of it becomes automatic. Anyone who promises you it will is selling you something. Hard work doesn't become easier. You become stronger. That's the difference. And that strength, that real forged in fire, tested by reality strength, is available to you. It's not genetics. It's not privilege. It's not luck. It is a choice made repeatedly in the private moments when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. That choice is yours. It has always been yours. The only question that matters as we come to the end of this is whether you're finally going to make it. So here's where we are. You came into this video maybe looking for a hit of motivation, maybe looking for a push, maybe half expecting another YouTube speech that makes you feel good for 20 minutes and then evaporates by the time you go to sleep. What you got instead was a mirror. The brutal truth is that you will fail in 2026 if you keep choosing comfort over character, if you keep being loyal to an identity built on other people's limitations, if you keep surrounding yourself with people who are comfortable with your average, if you keep treating inspiration as action, if you keep waiting for permission that is never coming. But you will win in 2026, and I mean genuinely, uncomfortably, transformationally win. If you do what the uncommon do, if you name the lie, if you choose the hard thing first every day, if you walk past your made-up limit and keep going for 20 more minutes, if you guard your vision and your circle with ferocity, if you weaponize your pain instead of burying it, if you build the jar, one hard decision at a time, this is not the year to try again. This is the year to be different, not the polished, performative different that looks good on social media but collapses at the first real test, the real different, the private different, the 5:30 a.m. different, the I'm going to do this even though I'm scared and it's uncertain and I don't know if it will work different. The world is full, overflowing with people who had the potential to do something extraordinary and never did. You walk past them every day. Some of them are in your mirror. The world is desperately, achingly short of people who decided, truly decided to find out what they were actually made of. Be one of those people. Not for the applause, not for the followers, not for the validation. Do it because somewhere deep in you, deeper than the doubt, deeper than the fear, deeper than every excuse you've ever made, there is a version of you that knows exactly what you're capable of. And that version has been waiting patiently, painfully for you to finally show up in 2026, not perfectly, not fearlessly, not with all the answers, show up anyway. The alarm goes off tomorrow, whatever time you set it. And in that first moment, before the negotiation starts, before the first excuse forms, before your comfort addicted brain begins its campaign to keep you where you are, you will have a decision to make. That decision is not about tomorrow. That decision is about who you are going to be for the rest of your life. Make the right one. Your mindset is your most powerful weapon. Now go use it.